Hello everyone, this is Dr. Ilyas from Department of Education, Hazara University, Mansehra. Designing research or research design is one of the most important, or I should say the most important consideration while we are thinking about research in academic settings. So this is why uh, the success or the otherwise actually depends to a great extent on the way the research has been designed. And it is very important that the researcher actually understands the process of designing the research in a way that actually leads to the successful conduct of the research process. So in today's presentation, we will discuss some aspects of the research designs and some of the factors that actually impact the process and product of the research design. So let's move and see. Um, there are a number of factors that actually revolve around the research design, or in other words, the research design actually revolves around a number of considerations. And these considerations include the paradigmatic considerations, the purposes of the research or of the study for which the study is conducted is also an important consideration while we are designing our methodology. And then when we are thinking about research design, we also need to think about the approach that we are interested in conducting a particular study. And similarly, methodology is another consideration that comes inside the fold of the research design. And methods is also one of the most important factors that actually impact our research design. So now there might be other considerations as well in practical when we are conducting research in a practical sense. But let's discuss these important aspects of the research design briefly, one by one. So the first one, it is actually not in a kind of order that we think that paradigm comes first and then the purpose and then the approach. That actually is not the case. All of these different considerations are actually interdependent, and the process is reiterative. So if you look at the first one in the list here on the top is paradigm. A paradigm is actually is the particular worldview in which the researcher who is conducting this particular study is something. It is the worldview of the researcher that actually impacts other considerations related to the research design. So a paradigm is a particular worldview in which the researcher looks at the world or looks at social reality. There are a number of paradigmatic positions, and those include the most important ones in positivism, interpretivism, and pragmatism. Positivism is like the school of thought that believe in the objectivity of the social reality. Um, Interpretivism is actually based on the philosophy that reality is mostly interpretive and actually subjective, and is based on the interpretation of the individual. And pragmatism is actually, in a way, the focus of pragmatism is actually on the priority of the ends over the means. And so in this particular school of thought, the focus is actually on the exploration of reality rather than the particular ways in which the reality is actually explored. And then the second consideration is the purpose. This will also impact the research design that particular researchers want to actually develop. So what is the purpose of the research? What are the objectives around which a research, this particular research study revolves. What are the research questions that the researcher is interested in? So the nature of objectives and the nature of research questions will also impact the research design. Then comes the approach. The approach, again, will impact the research design, and the approach actually means the particular way in which the researcher is interested in exploring the phenomena. So there are mainly, again, there are three different positions in terms of the approach in which research studies are conducted. And these include inductive approaches, where the researchers go from particular to the to general, and so qualitative research studies adopt the inductive approach. Similarly, the deductive approach, where the researchers go from theory to and are interested in theories and the generalizations of theories. And here, quantitative approaches, quantitative studies are conducted, and so quantitative, adopting quantitative approaches, another way that will impact the research design. And then the third approach is a kind of pragmatic approach, where the mixed method researches, including both quantitative and qualitative research methods or research techniques, are used in this third approach. Then we come to methodology, which is also something that researchers need to think about when they are when they are thinking about their research design. Methodology is actually the description, rationalization, and justification of the particular research methods that are being used. These might include particular research data collection tools, and then their rationalization or their description in detail, and the justification of particular data analysis or data collection or data analysis procedures or methods. So the methodology section is something that will be there in the research design. And the last, but which is actually not the last, but one of the most important considerations, is thinking about the methods, the particular methods of data collection, and the particular procedures of data collection and analysis, and the validation of that particular data, and the data collection procedures. So methods actually include the sampling procedures, and it includes the data collection methods and procedures, and it also might include the data analysis and the validity and reliability considerations. So overall, the research design is quite a complex but very interlinked type of phenomena, and which is actually impacted both by the theoretical or philosophical considerations of the research process, and plus its empirical considerations as well, and methodological considerations. So when we are thinking about research design, we need to think about the philosophy of research, and we need to think about the objectives of the particular research, and we need to think about the particular practical research procedures and considerations of the research that we are conducting. So overall, it's a combination, it's a wholesome thing that we need to think about. And depending on the particular paradigms of researchers, and then the purposes and the objectives of the particular research studies, then the kind of approaches that we need to think about, whether inductive or deductive, or whether we want to do quantitative research or qualitative research. And then again, methodological considerations and the use of particular methods for data collection and analysis is a whole combination and a complex relationship of these different factors that lead to our research design. So I think this is this is something like quite a complex issue and quite a complex concept of how to design particular research studies. But I have tried to somehow simplify the process a bit, and as usual, I think there will be more questions rather than answers after you listen to this particular presentation. So if you have any questions and comments, please share those questions and comments in the comment section. Thank you very much for your attention. Take care.